Now, I want to actually hold on to that, which we'll address to later. Like, we have another question that's related to that later.
Hmm.
And we're going to go to the Xbox side because we also need to talk about the other flip side. So,
All right.
Chad, are there any games on the Xbox side that you are looking forward to, assuming you are getting the Xbox Series X on the day itself or in the near future?
Well, so far, well, I'm pretty much excited for Halo Infinite.
Hmm, okay, go on, go on.
Yeah, something they're trying to experiment something. I think they're going to incorporate some of the mechanics of an open world game, especially what they revealed from the presentation last week.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're trying to, give players a nostalgic feel, especially the scenes from the first game when they share the gameplay footage from the presentation itself. Uh, People are pointing out the scenes are quite similar from the first Halo game.
Yeah,
So
because in
meaning
the first
there's
game you started in the your entire game is set on the giant halo, the ring.
yeah,
Yeah,
the thing
so
called Halo.
yep. So basically, you start with the halo, you end with the halo. I guess that's appropriate.
And I think it's going to be interesting in how they're going to extend the story or probably end the story for Master Chief, because I think how many times have we seen a lot of phrases like finish the fight for how many games now?
He's supposed to stay in cryostasis in the third game, and they brought him
Yeah,
back, and then he lost his girlfriend, and then
and then
I think he probably get back his girlfriend in this one. I don't know. Who knows?
yeah,
But I
hopefully.
like that idea of doing the open world thing because every single stage that I and campaign I played from Halo all the way to Halo 4, the levels have always been kind of open but not quite. Like expensive, new
Mhm.
areas and new entry points for enemies and for your characters to team up and fight in.
Yeah,
So it makes sense to actually have 343 Industries to say, fuck it, we're just gonna have an open world game because every level we've been making together with Bungie back in the day has always been kind of expensive. So why not we just connect all these stages together instead and make it seem like an open world game? So I guess
yeah,
that's a logical step right there.
yeah. That's pretty good actually. Especially how Ubisoft did with Far Cry, right? Like they incorporated some sort of open world system, and then they added a lot of side quests or other missions for you to complete. Sometimes not really that of a mandatory, but something to add in your gameplay experience, or maybe for you to enjoy Halo further.
I hope they actually go beyond what Xbox has done with. Remember Gears 5 when they tried to introduce an open world concept, but it's just basically you going to point A to point B and then you fight in that instance, and then when you get out, the open world is basically you riding on a cab lah, basically.
Oh yeah,
So
you
I
know.
hope Halo Infinite does not do that. I mean, I hope to fight enemies while I'm in the Warthog. I want enemies to ambush me while I'm traveling around because that's the whole point of a Halo game, to shoot things and to jump around, to use cover, to be a hero and have your shield up, fighting with all these special skills like the bubble shield and your ground pound or whatever's. Hopefully, they're new skills lah. And again, I just want it to be more like you have this open world idea, use it, use it to the fullest.
Yeah, utilize the open world experience. Give players more options to enjoy.
Speaking of open world, what do you think about the other trailers that revealed Avowed and Fable at the end?
Well, so far, Fabled. Well, it's pretty much a really good as a franchise especially for Microsoft side. And I'm not sure what they're gonna incorporate with Fable. Either it's a reboot, a remake, or maybe a uh whole new series
Okay.
for this RPG.
It is very like the trailer tells us nothing. We have to base all our preconceptions based on the game's legacy from part 1 to part 3.
Oh yeah. So I'm hoping that that they could incorporate some of the features from the previous games, and then mold it into something one of a kind, or maybe refreshing for the fans and even for the newcomers.
You know the studio who's behind it, right? Behind this Fable.
I forgot the team again.
They're Playground Studios, I believe. They're the same team who did Forza Horizon. That's actually the
Oh,
only game that they've been doing, from the first Forza Horizon till the fourth one. The one was set in Britain. So
Oh
it'll be
yeah,
interesting for them to see how they handle doing something apart from cars. So
yeah. Also interesting is if they're going to bring back Peter Molyneux for the development of this game, or
I
maybe
don't think
not.
that's likely. I think it's gonna be like a whole brand new thing. They're gonna follow the DNA established by Lionhead
Mhm.
before Peter Molyneux left and the whole company left. So it's just gonna be yeah, it's gonna be a whole brand new slate. I'll actually be very surprised if Peter Molyneux comes back though.
Yeah, could be interesting though, and hopefully they could do something that is could be a big breakthrough for the franchise. Maybe going step further outside of the box of what Fable being is,
Hmm.
and produce something that is really unique and something that's more memorable than the original.
True that, true that. They're gonna have to stick to how they've been doing it, lah, like an open world action adventure RPG game that focuses on like whether you're gonna be a really terrible human being or a very good human being.
Yeah.
It's not the most subtle game because when you are evil, you have horns growing out of your forehead. So,
Yeah.
any
Hopefully
other?
maybe in
You were saying?
mhm.
Sorry, you were saying?
I was hoping like in the morality choices they could do something in between, or maybe whenever, for example, in the playthrough when you go from being evil, maybe you could do something going back to the good side, like redeeming, maybe a good sort of mechanic to make it more interesting for the story.
Okay, I hope so too. I hope so too. But I think they might. Okay, hopefully they won't phone it in, lah. They might try something new.
Yeah,
Any other games on your
scary.
side that kind
Mm.
of piqued your interest? Like, because I know a lot of people were very happy at seeing the Stalker 2 in trailer popping up. I know some of my old PC friends they played Stalker a lot. They
Oh yeah.
curse the game because it's very hard. So to see this popping up, I think they're very very happy. Even though we know what the game's gonna look like, the trailer just
Mm.
showed it's just a guy in a post-apocalyptic Russia kind of world. So, what are your thoughts about Stalker 2?
Well, although I'm not really much of a fan of the Stalker, but I'm really happy that more people are looking forward to this to the second game,
Mhm.
especially like it's establishing new communities for Microsoft this time, especially when they going to push with Stalker 2. And so far, how do you say it? How can I explain this? Hopefully they could do something really good, or maybe they could expand much on the gameplay, and especially on the multiplayer aspect if they're going to push with that.
I guess so. I guess so. I felt that the first Stalker was always introducing. It was actually like the precursor before other companies would be like, "Hey, let's follow this open world kind of concept in doing missions." Except we make it more mainstream and easier,
Oh
because
yeah.
Stalker has always been about like resource management, and you got a tiny inventory, and basically every enemy can hit you pretty hard, and they're very
Oh yeah.
very high level AI lah. So Stalker 2 is probably going to do the same because the developers did mention that the AI will behave how you interact with the world and how from start to finish, and it'll be just how it was in the first game, except more changela, more high res, more next gen graphicy.
More realistic, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You could say like that. And I guess they're trying to do something in a more realistic way, especially with the gameplay. So it's pretty much understanding that they're trying to ease up with the quality of life for the second game.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Everything
what
else
else?
from this list does not seem like something. I mean, sure, State of Decay 3. Yeah, that's nice of them to announce it, but I'm not really. How do you say? I mean, I
Yeah,
like the second game until the bugs started coming in, but the third game, I hope they do something a little different. Like, I like the whole multi-protagonist switching thing in the first two games, so I think they need to actually go beyond that and maybe make the mechanics less obtuse and make it less buggy than the previous game. That's all I
let's hope
ask.
so.
That's all
Let's
I
hope for
ask.
that.
Yeah.
And then,
Let's see. Forza
okay, it's gonna,
Motorsports.
this one is gonna be interesting, especially for the console exclusive.
Mhm.
Uh, Fantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis.
You're a fan of the Phantasy Star Online too, I wager.
Oh yeah, pretty much being playing the game when it was launched on the Southeast Asian version, and unfortunately shut down 2 years later.
But it came back on the Microsoft Store. Did
Oh
you
yeah,
try that out? Was it?
not yet. But I'm going to try it probably on August, especially with their new update that they're going to integrate it on Steam.
Yeah, you're just waiting for the Steam version, right? Because
Yeah,
I am too actually. Because I hope they have achievements and whatever stuff lah, and it'll
I
be
hope
easier
so.
on my side to connect it to my Steam account. But this is an interesting case because PSO2 New Genesis, when it was announced, a lot of people did not know what the hell this was until Sega clarified it a couple of hours later, saying that this is a brand new game. You don't need PSO2 online to play this game, but you can transfer all your cosmetics from PSO2 into this new Genesis game.
So yeah, it's pretty much interesting as, and I'm also expecting that it could be PSO3, but I did it with a new Genesis, so I guess they still want to maintain the original game because they have a lot of there are a lot of communities there, especially in Japan and in other parts of Asia.
And America now lately. And
And
America
right
as
now
well.
America as well. And now they're going to push with new Genesis. I guess they're trying to introduce PS Phantasy Star to newer audiences,
Okay, okay.
and within I think they're trying to do with an open world mechanic, and compared with the lobby based system from the original game.
And
So
an action, and I think I heard that the action system, the combat might be tweaked where it's a bit more real time compared to the MMO style combat in
oh yeah,
PSO2.
I think they're going to adjust the how they use for the weapons, especially for the guns and
Mm.
rifles. When I tried PSO2 while playing as a range character, you can notice some, it's not pretty much the same feel like from a shooter game.
All right,
It
all
can
right.
still feels like an RPG. So I guess they're going to push a more realistic shooting system for New Genesis.
I think from Sega's history, they have done games like Fantasy Star Universe on the PSP, right? Um,
Portable, Phantasy Star Portable, and then the Universe is on the PC, I think.
okay, okay, okay. But they're kind of actiony, right? Those two games, if I
Oh
recall.
yeah, you could still feel the vibe for the Phantasy Star Universe because when they move it to the portable, it maintained the gameplay system and also added multiplayer, and which coincide now and transition into PSO2.
Okay. I feel that yeah, with Sega's long history of action games, I mean Yakuza's one, the
Uh-huh.
Shining games, the ones on the PS2 and PS3,
Oh
and
yeah.
also the Fantasy Star games you mentioned. I think this
Hmm.
is just Sega. They are going to take this engine from Fantasy Star Online 2. They're going to rework it to be very actiony and very, like you said, single player, new player friendly vibe to it. And then, yeah, this could be like a nice rebirth of sorts. Again, this is coming out next year, right? 2021.
Yeah, next year, 2021. I'm not sure if it's a simultaneous release with the Western servers, but I'm hoping that the gap between the Japanese and from the Western release will be really close, so the
Might
players
be.
from the West will still enjoy the New Genesis game.
Okay, okay. I think this is gonna be a good case of PSO2. Um, Yeah, also the game is free to play. I just remembered. That was what I
Yeah,
was trying to get to. So I guess that also helps too. I'm not sure how they're gonna make money out of. Maybe I guess it's cosmetics, right? It's usually the
yeah.
cosmetics.
Also the free-to-play games are into cosmetics for microtransactions. And what's interesting is that with New Genesis, I'm not sure if they're still going to push for a multi-platform in the Western servers,
Hmm.
but in Japan, they're also releasing for the PS5 and I think Switch,
I think
PS4
so.
and the Switch.
Yep.
So yeah, so I guess it's more of a console exclusive for Xbox in the West.
Yeah,
What?
that's interesting. I think because of what there's probably a partnership that Sega's doing.
Yeah,
Because remember Yakuza 7, they made an announcement that it's gonna be for next gen. It's gonna be come out for Xbox Series X first, like this
yeah.
year. So Sega's probably got something going on. So I kind of hope they get back Platinum Games and get a Vanquish 2 happening
Yeah.
for Xbox, because that would
I'm
be the
hoping.
dream.
Oh yeah, I'm also hoping that Microsoft could revive like Soulbound, like from
Scalebound,
Platinum.
Scalebound.
Scalebound, sorry. I was hoping for that because it was a good momentum during the current generation for
Yeah.
the Xbox One,
I think they
and then
can probably. I think they have to wait for like that cooling off period before they can resume working together. I mean, who knows? Because
yeah,
this isn't the first time companies have, you know, done wrong with each other and split off for a bit. So this won't be the last, lah. Thankfully.
yeah, hoping that maybe not just maybe not Scalebound, but probably a different game.
Hmm.
And hoping that Microsoft would continue partnering with Japanese developers, so f- we have more diverse games for Xbox, not just for Western games only, and probably Japanese games or maybe other Asian games.
Yeah, yeah.